Exclusive contracted novel by Falun Novel Network. Transforming into a beautiful girl, starting from the heavenly sword and becoming a divine hero, crossing into a parallel world and transforming into a beautiful girl, Su Youwei feels a bit confused. Fortunately, to obtain the perfect goddess system, simply bind one online game and you can recharge in cashback in a 1.10 ratio. From then on, there was one less recently graduated salted fish girl in this world, and one more top-notch white rich and beautiful, starting from Tian Dao. Second disciple of Youwei. Youwei, could you please provide me with a few pieces of equipment so that I can retrieve Eru Frost once? Tianxiang third disciple. Youwei, do you think I am qualified to be your binding milk? Alliance United Front. General Su, brothers are fighting while listening to your songs. Everyone has confidence and their combat effectiveness is soaring. Hostile President. Youwei, are you interested in visiting our Jichangshan? We happen to lack a wealthy boss with a sweet and beautiful voice in Jichangshan. Don't get married for 100, rest assured to enter the pit. Falun Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. What is the experience of transforming into a beautiful girl in Chapter 1? You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. In a delicate boudoir full of pink girlish vibe. Su Che stared blankly at herself in the mirror, her face filled with an incredible expression. The girl in the mirror has picturesque features, delicate, with black hair cascading down her shoulders like a waterfall, exuding a pure and ethereal temperament. Even wearing an ordinary white shirt and sky blue jeans cannot conceal the graceful curves of a delicate figure. No matter how you look at it, this is a stunning girl with a heavenly beauty. But who would have thought that this beautiful girl who could make anyone fall for her heart was actually an ordinary young man from Earth? Mom. I have been looking at my current body for a long time. Su Che no, perhaps it should be called Su Youwei now. Finally, I fully accepted the cruel reality that I had already traveled through and transformed into. Through memory. Su Youwei learned that she had come to a parallel world called Blue Star, which resembled Earth. Here, the development of the world is very similar, and there is not much difference. Even some of Su Youwei's favorite games from his past life have appeared one by one in this world, such as LOL, Yunding, Tiandao, and Su Youwei's current identity is a genius girl who just graduated from high school and was admitted to a prestigious university in the imperial capital. It can be said. Besides transforming into a woman, Su Youwei felt a little uncomfortable with 2 extra seats on her chest. Everything else, Su Youwei's current situation is more than 100 times stronger than her ordinary past life. If we only look at it from this direction, Su Youwei's journey was generally successful, except for a slight gender accident. Lying weakly on the soft bed that occupied 2/3 of the room, smelling the intoxicating fragrance lingering at the tip of her nose, Su Youwei muttered to herself. Let's just transform. Anyway, as long as I don't fall in love with men, it doesn't seem like there's anything wrong with being like this now. At least it's more eye-catching. That's the truth. Su Youwei's current appearance is much more perfect than the goddess she had imagined in her past life. If the perfect score is 100, then Su Youwei is now willing to give herself 120 points, not afraid of her pride. It's not an exaggeration to say that this extremely beautiful appearance is a divine gift from heaven. At least in reality, Su Youwei must have never seen anyone who can rival her current self. Just as Su Youwei was lost in thought, a slightly cold and mechanical voice suddenly sounded in her ear. Ding! The perfect goddess system has been successfully bound. Ding! The system panel has been opened, please check it promptly. System. Suddenly widened her clear and bright beautiful eyes. For Su Youwei, who has read many online novels in his past life, this thing is naturally not unfamiliar. A strong surprise arose in my heart. Although the beginning of this life was already good enough, who would refuse to have more cards if possible? Su Youwei, who was well aware of how beautiful her body was now, felt a strong sense of unease in her heart. She always felt as if she could be turned into a female protagonist by a bad person at any time. Now that she had the ability to protect herself, Su Youwei immediately felt pleasantly surprised and asked, "Panel. The words have not yet finished." A light blue light curtain immediately appeared before Su Youwei's eyes. Host. Su Youwei age. 18 system level. 1 cashback ratio. 1.10 daily cashback limit. 100000 upgrade experience. 0 binding online games. None binding times. 1 cashback. Blinking her beautiful eyes, Su Youwei murmured softly. Is it a recharge and cashback system? The fact proves that Su Youwei's guess was not wrong. At this moment, the sound of the system rang out in a timely manner, saying, "That's right, the host can choose any online game to bind. After successful binding, the money recharged by the host in that game can be returned to your bank card in a 1:10 ratio, and the system ensures security. But there is an upper limit to the amount of money that can be cashed back. At the current level of the system, the host can cash back up to 100,000 yuan per day. And by completing the daily tasks of the system, you can earn system experience points and improve the system's level." The system's explanation is already detailed and cannot be further elaborated. Su Youwei is not stupid, of course, he suddenly understood the general function of this system. But after thinking for a moment, the girl took the initiative to ask the system again. "What are the general contents of daily tasks? May I ask if the host has taken on today's daily tasks?" Task content. Successfully bind a game. Success reward. 10,000 yuan in cash, song love urgent lyrics and songs. Is that worth mentioning? There is no punishment for failure in tasks, only fools will not take them. Su Youwei immediately nodded and said, "Take on the task." After taking on the task, Su Youwei struggled to sit up from the bed and looked at the computer with beautiful eyes. She leaned on her snow-white chin and muttered to herself. "So the question is, which game should I first bind to? The niche in the niche, seeking support from monthly tickets and flowers. I have a rough plan for this book, as long as the data is not bad enough to be unnoticed, I can definitely write it down." QAQ. Chapter 2. The Perfect Goddess System. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. System, I have bound this game. Can I bind other games in the future? Of course. Every system upgrade will give the host a chance to bind the game as a gift. Knowing that you don't have only one chance. Su Youwei's originally solemn mood suddenly became much more relaxed. She went through several games she used to play in her past life in her mind, and in the end, it seemed that only Tiandao was the most suitable game. The reason is simple, because among the few online games that Su Youwei has played, it seems that only Tiandao's level of spending is quite exaggerated, so there is no situation where she recharges money but has no place to spend it. That's right, after having a recharge and cashback system, what Su Youwei needs now is precisely the kind of online games that can cost a lot of money, which can be said to be in sharp contrast to her past life. As for the game between League of Legends and Cloud Top, it's not an exaggeration to say that this is almost a game that can be bought through the mall for just a few 100,000 yuan without any further purchases. Unless Su Youwei is crazy, there is almost no possibility of using the first binding opportunity in these two games. Since the game has been chosen, Su Youwei no longer hesitated and directly used the only existing opportunity on the Heavenly Blade. After the system sends a successful binding prompt sound. In Su Youwei's mind, words and music messages about the sweet song, "Love is Urgent," suddenly emerged out of thin air, and her phone also sent a reminder message for a bank remittance of 10,000 yuan. Although my family background in this lifetime is not ordinary. Cheap parents who have been busy with their careers overseas for years have gradually earned back over 300,000 yuan in pocket money during their high school years, which has been largely saved by their predecessors. But if possible, who would complain about having too much money in their bank account? Maybe it won't be a few days. Now Su Youwei is about to transform from a little wealthy woman with a net worth of over 200,000 yuan to a wealthy and beautiful woman with a net worth of millions, right? Successfully bound the game and completed daily tasks. Su Youwei then lightly jumped off the bed and walked lightly to her pinky sports chair, sitting down and turning on the computer. As a genius girl who was addicted to learning, her predecessor in high school almost ignored the outside world and focused solely on reading books of sages, rarely encountering games and other things. So the first step for Su Youwei to become the perfect goddess is actually to start by downloading the game Tiandao Knife. Fortunately, the computer at home has top-notch configuration and good internet speed. In just a few minutes, Su Youwei successfully downloaded a game with a scale of tens of gigabytes, opened the interface, entered the account, and arrived at the extremely familiar interface for selecting servers. Clear and beautiful eyes swept through familiar district names such as Changxing Sword, Phoenix Collection, and Sangfeng Valley. Just as Su Youwei hesitated about which district server to settle in and start his life as a heavenly knife. The line Destiny and Charm Koi copy on the promotional interface successfully caught the girl's eye, causing her to suddenly recall classic memories from her past life. With a sigh of emotion, a touch of nostalgia appeared on the delicate snow-white face. For Su Youwei, who once entered the Koi raid at the peak of the Tianming blade and watched the disappearance of the Tianming Fenglu region at its lowest point, the 7 words Tianming Fenglu Koi raid simply have an extraordinary meaning. The server will open on July 11th. Murmuring about the server opening time copied by the Koi. Su Youwei is slightly considering. Okay, there's nothing worth considering, she said calmly. It's the 10th now, so let's wait until the server opens tomorrow and go directly to Koi to play. Although for wealthy tycoons, there is not much difference between old and new areas. As long as you are willing to spend money, you can also surpass countless people and reach the top of the rankings in the old district in a short period of time. But if possible, Su Youwei is still willing to go to the new area, start with everyone and get to know more interesting and adorable newcomers. I don't have time to play the game at the moment. Su Youwei's attention fell on the song she had just received, Love Urgent. She started again, downloaded a music editor, and whispered to herself. While the server hasn't started yet, why not come up with the song Urgent Love for fun? I used a music editor to create the accompaniment of the Urgent Love affair, and then uploaded it to my phone to record a crude initial version. Although the production and recording of the accompaniment are very rough. But Su Youwei's crisp and ethereal sweet voice, like a heavenly melody, still makes this cheerful and sweet song perform to the fullest, with an explosive sugar content. Get busy with all of this. Su Youwei suddenly realized that the time had already arrived at 9 p.m. Hurriedly taking off her headphones and stopping her narcissistic behavior of enjoying her singing, Su Youwei patted her flat and tight snow-white belly and planned to order takeout first to fill her stomach before doing anything else. Chapter 3. Uploading songs. Tiandao opens the server in advance. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Task content. Ask the host to publish their songs to TikTok, and get at least 1 million likes and 100,000 fans. Success reward. Professional singer level singing skills. What? I woke up from my sleep in a daze and heard the cold mechanical sound of the system. Su Youwei's snow-white face suddenly froze in the bed, unable to understand what was happening now. Standing up straight from the warm and soft blanket, she scratched and scratched her soft black hair, which was still as smooth as ink after sleeping all night. Su Youwei murmured. TikTok. Is there TikTok now? Okay, there really is. Although you don't know whether the world line changes lead to the early birth of the world's TikTok. But when the girl sat on the computer chair and looked at the familiar black icon of the music symbol on her phone screen, Youwei knew that it was definitely not wrong. Since there is a reward, Youwei will certainly not refuse this kind of thing that can be easily done with no effort. She knows how to open TikTok, register an account, and release songs. But although the song has been released, Youwei is not particularly clear about whether it can become popular. After all, what she posted was just a simple song, and there were no photos of herself leaving the country. But it doesn't matter. Anyway, Youwei just has a casual attitude. Professional singer-level singing skills are certainly good, but if not, there is nothing unacceptable. Anyway, Youwei has no plans to enter the entertainment industry. Just singing and playing casually. After uploading songs, having breakfast, and all this fuss, the time still arrived at around 11 o'clock in the morning, with less than an hour left until the official opening of the Koi Koi service. Youwei opens the game and updates it in advance. If you confirm to open the server in advance, you can enter the game as soon as possible. After finishing this, she picked up her phone and logged into the Tiandao, intending to see if there were any interesting posts. Find love, find binding, find fixed teams, find Jinlan, find gangs. The main post bar for opening the Tianya Mingyue knife is full of posts searching for something on almost every screen, clearly proclaiming the social attributes of Tiandao to everyone. Although the lone wolf is not impossible to play in this game. But whenever you are criticized by someone in the game but unable to retaliate due to the large number of opponents, you may be extremely eager for a group of friends who can help you stand out. And this, perhaps, is one of the biggest reasons why these people are so happy to search for this and that in Tiandao before every new district starts. Youwei, for her part, has suffered from a lone wolf in her previous life. If she tries again, she will generally look for a more effective gang, or at least an awesome fixed team. But in this life, Youwei has a significant difference compared to his previous life, which is that he has an unimaginable and almost omnipotent ability to make money. In this metal-based game, money ability is undoubtedly the most powerful and invincible ability, far surpassing any small group or gang. So after a slight hesitation, Youwei was not in a hurry to find a fixed team, but planned to embark on his journey of the heavenly sword in a solo manner. As for friends, perhaps after playing games for a few days, you will naturally get to know each other. Youwei browsed Tiandao while surfing the internet. The opening time of the server is also approaching bit by bit, with only the last minute left in the blink of an eye. Considering that the official Tiandao game occasionally has strange operations of opening servers in advance, Youwei temporarily put down his phone and tentatively controlled the mouse, clicking to enter the game. Originally, it was just a purely exploratory point, but unexpectedly, after a pause in the computer screen, it really jumped to the classic blue background interface and was loading. Did you really open the server early? In the depths of my heart, I gave a thumbs up to the official Tiandao. Youwei didn't delay any time and began to fully immerse himself in the game. Accompanied by a burst of melodious music, the screen arrived at the career selection interface of Tiandao. Taibai, Zhenwu, Shenwei, Beggar's Sect, Tianxiang, Wudu, and today's newly released Divine Knife are currently the 7 major professions of Heavenly Knife, one after another flashy professions in later generations, which have not yet appeared. Although there are 7 professions, Youwei's gaze is only hovering between Taibai and Zhenwu, hesitating because these are her 2 favorite professions when playing Tiandao. After hesitating for a moment, the upcoming Zhulong system still allowed Youwei to confirm her choice. Click on Taibai, import the facial data she had already prepared, and then enter the game, born in the exceptionally familiar place of Jiuhuatsangfeng Valley. Chapter 4. Don't panic before entering the game, just open Krypton. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Although Youwei successfully entered the game at the moment of early server opening. But when her character was born in the Jiuhuatsangfeng Valley, the densely packed figures were still so numerous that it was astonishing, causing a brief pause in the screen, as if it was about to disconnect. But fortunately, Su Youwei spent a lot of money to prepare the top equipment that was not long ago enough to awesome, and the computer image returned to smoothness after a moment of stagnation. Su Youwei quickly manipulated the character and walked around, feeling a sudden sigh of relief in her heart. A girl who has experienced it once in her past life, but knows how exaggerated and popular the queue of koi copying is. She is now disconnected, and when she reconnects, it may be at least a few thousand people away. I saw that my character Eddie, a young female hero named Youwei, was not disconnected. While Su Youwei breathed a sigh of relief, he didn't rush to do the main task. Instead, he directly clicked on the shopping mall interface in the lower right corner, and then clicked on Recharge. His mouth curved slightly, and his voice was sweet as he said, "Brother Yen, I have enough money to recharge and save you in my lifetime. The main plot of Tiandao may not be very good, but it is not so bad that it cannot be captured." And Su Youwei counted the entire Tiandao career, the only few NPCs that could leave a deep impression on her. Undoubtedly the first to bear the brunt was Yen Nanfei. Su Youwei still remembers it to this day. When I watched the main plot and saw Yen Nanfei being pierced by a sword, the faint sourness rose in my heart when the song, Destiny and Wind, was played. To give a player such a feeling, there is no doubt that the portrayal of Yen Nanfei in the Tiandao game is not only successful, but at least it is also imprinted in the player's heart. In his past life, he had no spare money and could only serve as the instructor of the 800000 Forbidden Army, watching as brother Yen was killed. In this life, Su Youwei will definitely okay, no matter how much she recharges, it may still be difficult to change the development of the main storyline. However, although the plot cannot be changed, Su Youwei wants to change her own destiny. In this life, she has achieved a goal that she had thought about many times in her previous life, but has never achieved before, which is to wear the most expensive fashion in this game directly in the birthplace of Youwei. Heart King Dugu, one of Su Youwei's favorite Tian Shang fashion in his past life, with a price of up to 680,000 Tian Shang points, equivalent to over 60,000 renminbi. Although this price can be halved when double the reward points, it can be much cheaper if you contact a business association or purchase through purchasing agents. But such a piece of clothing is still quite expensive, and in the years after the release of the Heavenly Sword, it was crowned with the exclusive title of a tycoon. Of course. Do you think it's expensive? The official Tian Dao also has something to say. On this day, we will reward you with points. Even though it was something we gave you after you recharged, this piece of clothing is equivalent to giving away inverted stickers for free. How can we say it's expensive? As for the other set, which is more expensive and reaches 880,000 days of reward points, the most expensive day reward fashion, the Mist Hidden Thunder collection. Su Youwei cannot be said to like or dislike, but if she had to choose between the two, she would definitely still choose Dugu. But choose between two, that's something that only children do. The current Su Youwei undoubtedly wants everything. Open the recharge directly, and then scan and buy everything visible in the mall one by one. Su Youwei plans to accumulate enough points to exchange for Dugu and the newly released red-headed Fenghua Bian through hard buying. Although purchasing points through merchants of the Chamber of Commerce is indeed much cheaper. But that thing takes a certain amount of time, at least 1 or 2 days, at most even more than a week. Of course, Su Youwei doesn't have the leisure to wait that long. When the recharge reaches over 30,000 yuan, the bank customer service called Su Youwei and took the initiative to inquire whether the large expenses on Su Youwei's end were handled by the customer themselves. Su Youwei gave a positive answer, then hung up the phone in the other person's gentle and pleasant voice and continued to start recharging. Completed a full recharge of 100,000 yuan in just a few minutes. Perhaps it was due to the intervention of the system, or perhaps due to Su Youwei's good family background, the predicted limit had not yet arrived, which could be considered as allowing Su Youwei to experience the joy of spending money freely. Spending a whopping 100,000 yuan at once and still charging it into the game is undoubtedly a very novel and exciting experience for Su Youwei. But on second thought, as soon as Su Youwei thought about spending less than someone else's meal, her mood became much more calm. Spend 100,000 yuan. The system's cashback is also automatically taking effect. Despite the upper limit, the return of 100,000 yuan was still transferred to Su Youwei's bank card as scheduled, making her beautiful eyes slightly brighter. Chapter 5. Lonely Red Hair Level 1 Little White. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Although the money has been flushed in. But how to spend it and earn enough reward points is a question worth pondering. Although all gift packages have been emptied, the clothes, accessories, and miscellaneous items in the mall have all been swept through. But even if the mall is cleared, Su Youwei's heavenly reward points are still almost enough to reach the Heart King Dugu. Although Tiandao has gradually evolved into a bottomless pit for money in later generations, Su Youwei also has to admit that during this period, Tiandao was generally more conscientious, and there were not so many places worth spending money in the game. If Su Youwei's 100,000 yuan is fully invested in the game, it may not even be enough to stir up any waves. At best, if he does 2 or 3 casting special effects, he will have to take a break. But at least in these half hours, if Su Youwei wants to spend all of it in the mall, it will undoubtedly be a bit difficult. Clear eyes scan the mall interface back and forth. Just as Su Youwei was thinking about whether to buy a white prince that could be purchased repeatedly to accumulate enough points, the words, Dangjian Coin Supply Pack, suddenly caught the girl's eye, causing a flash of confusion in her eyes. I almost forgot about this. I bought all the Dangjian supply packs, the maximum purchase limit, and then bought a few more white young master horses. Su Youwei finally managed to gather enough money to buy the Heartthrob Dugu, and successfully bought his long-awaited fashion, along with the recently launched red-headed Fenghua Bian, into his 24-grid backpack. Wearing fashionable clothes and red hair, while earning the new title of White Fox, Su Youwei's first-level female Tai Bai immediately became the most beautiful young man in the novice village, almost blinding the 24Ki titanium alloy dog eyes of the people around her. I'm going. My dog is blind. Is this Dugu and his newly emerged red hair? Just Nima is outrageous. You're only wearing this thing at level 1. Your dog but is too arrogant, isn't it? Bai, how obvious is your trust at home? Do you have a bit of a brain, okay? Then tell me, how did this person's Dugu and red hair come from? How long has it been since the district was opened? How else can it be done? It must have been hard. Earned by spending money, otherwise you're just a second stroke and don't even understand it. There are cheaper purchasing agents to choose from, insisting on buying more expensive ones. Are you stupid or am I stupid? Alright, stop making noise. Look at Eddie, she can't be a cute new rich woman, can she? Rich woman, look at me, hungry, rice. Their heavenly knife is different from ours. Although the novice village is still densely packed with figures. But Su Youwei's first-level female Tai Bai still stood out and became the only focus of the audience with her incredibly eye-catching appearance and luxurious and compelling fashion. Looking at the small sensation I have caused in the current channel. Su Youwei shook his head slightly, ignoring the players who had started arguing, and began to follow the main storyline on his own. Although I may not be familiar with the main storyline of Tian Dao anymore, revisiting the old place after such a long time and still in a parallel world undoubtedly brought Su Youwei a very novel feeling. After completing the main mission of Meng Mansion's extermination, we officially arrived at the area where we needed to fight monsters. Due to the large number of players, although Su Youwei was dressed in solitary red hair, her character could not obtain the ownership of a small monster out of thin air. Often, it took half a minute to level up and grab a small monster there. Su Youwei furrowed her brows and thought to herself that this would not work. If it continued like this, she might not be able to complete this task in 5 or 6 minutes. Fortunately, at this time, a Tian Xiang sister named Feng Qinyue chose to invite Su Youwei to join the group. Without hesitation, Su Youwei, who was looking for a team to join, chose to agree directly. As soon as he entered the team, Eddie, who was neatly aligned with Feng Qinyue and Feng Qingxue above, almost made Su Youwei think he had joined the couple team. Feng Qinyue. Welcome. Feng Qingxue. Welcome to join. Youwei. Actually, this is just a temporary team to fight monsters, there's no need to be so serious. Feng Qinyue said, Feng Qingxue said, ha, let me just say it. Sister insisted on having a sense of ceremony. Sister. Su Youwei muttered to herself. Are they twins? Well, although it's rare, it's not particularly rare. Su Youwei didn't ask much, just fought with these two people and the newly added two brothers very tacitly, struggling to grab the monster from the vast sea of people. Although it was just a repetitive action competing for one after another to refresh the monsters, and no one in the team spoke, this experience is undoubtedly difficult to replicate in the hormone zone that has emerged in later generations. Chapter 6. Tian Dao is fun and free. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Along the way, Su Youwei and several players in the team completed today's main storyline and reached level 27, working together to upgrade the main storyline of monster hunting. The new main quest will only start tomorrow, and the level seal will also be lifted tomorrow. If Su Youwei doesn't want her level progress to fall behind, she undoubtedly needs to raise her level to the top 30 today. After taking a look at the instructions, Su Youwei decided to leave the simplest tasks and methods of meditation and wandering bandits to the end. He would first invite some experience rewards from the dungeon, and then brush some visible equipment for himself to use in PK and sparring later. Thinking of this, Su Youwei directly typed in the team. The main storyline for today has already been completed. Do you all need to go play dungeons? If you go, let's go together. After all, they are teammates who went from level 5 to level 20 together. Although they haven't talked much, compared to strangers, these people still look more pleasing and friendly. Feng Qinyue said, it's possible. Feng Qingxue said, alright, my sister and I happen to be going to do some math. This is my first time playing, I don't know how to fight. Sword and sword. I don't know how to. Feng Qingxue said, hey, don't you all know? I don't know either. QAQ. Three people don't know how to do it. Suddenly, my eyes widened. Although Su Youwei had guessed that there might be cute newcomers in the team, she never expected that there would be so many cute newcomers. Although the Longsho Mountain dungeon, as its level and equipment grow, is almost a child's dungeon of 1 move per second. But in the era where this attribute has not yet been extremely inflated, and the level and equipment have not reached the exaggerated level of T8 T9, the difficulty of Longsho Mountain is actually quite objective. I won't say anything else. Just the tornado that can run with people, it's hard to know how many beginners suffer from mental breakdown and complete explosion. Even Su Youwei died in that wind several times before honing his amazing body skills. Youwei. Don't you all know? If none of the 4 people know, then no matter how friendly these people look, Su Youwei may have to consider changing teams. Familiar experience tells Su Youwei that with her current equipment, attempting to pass this dungeon with 4 inexperienced players seems to be no different from actively seeking torture. Fortunately, the girl breathed a slight sigh of relief. The only 2 wet nurse in the team, Feng Qinyue, took the initiative and said, I will do it, I have typed this book in the old district. It's good to have a wet nurse, so there should be hope for it. Nodding slightly, Su Youwei directly requested the captain to teleport to Jiangnan Yazippo Kaiben. After a forced performance of the plot, Su Youwei and several other teammates who were in the same team but had not been masked, finally met for the first time at the entrance of Tianquan Villa. 5 people stand together. Dressed in a solitary attire, with red hair and white butterflies floating on her body, Su Youwei almost immediately formed a sharp contrast with her other 4 teammates. Although these 4 people are not considered leopard heads, they are all wearing fashion from the mall. But as the saying goes, people die when compared to people, and goods are thrown away when compared to goods. This is not a comparison, but when compared, the huge gap between ordinary mall fashion and dugu is immediately reflected vividly. Sword and sword. The outfit looks really nice at this time, and the red hair. Where did you buy it? Why didn't I find it? Feng Qinyue said, this is Tianshang fashion, it's very expensive. How expensive is it? Said the 14 prefectures of frost and cold with one sword. Feng Qinyue said, approximately 60,000 to 70,000 renminbi. Sword and sword. Sorry to bother you. One sword frost in 14 provinces. My dear mother, how could Tian Dao have such expensive fashion? Mom, I kind of want to go back to Jiansan. Feng Qinyue said, but when it comes to purchasing on behalf of a merchant with double points, you should be able to get it for just 1 or 2,000 yuan. However, the young lady wore this outfit in such a short period of time. If I'm not mistaken, she probably cleared the mall and bought this outfit forcefully. WeChat account. That's about it. Alright, let's just open the account. Feng Qinyue said, rich woman, hungry, rice. Feng Qinyue. Sword and sword. Rich woman, hungry, rice. One sword frost cold 14 prefectures. Rich woman, hungry, rice. Youwei. How do you know I'm a woman? Maybe I'm bigger than you all. Feng Qinyue. My intuition. Sword and sword. This name looks very quiet and delicate at first glance. Sword of frost in 14 provinces. Oh, I remember. So, Youwei, are the one who made a fuss over a tall building in Tiandao. Chapter 7. Su Youwei. My several valuable teammates. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Tiandao. Although knowing that I had just opened the district and put on solitary red hair, it did indeed cause a certain amount of heat around me. But Su Youwei never expected that such a small matter could cause trouble in Tiandao, arguing about a tall building for herself. Don't think about it. Su Youwei knows exactly what the two sides of Tiandao are arguing about. Although Su Youwei himself dislikes the existence of game consoles, those who rely on empty words without any evidence are undoubtedly one of the people Su Youwei dislikes. I am not in a hurry to go to the post bar to read the content of the hot posts. Su Youwei typed. Don't worry about those boring people, let's just open the book. Let's go through it briefly first. If there's anything you don't know, you can tell me after it's over and I'll teach you. After all 4 teammates nodded and typed together. Su Youwei rode his horse directly to the first boss, triggering a forced storyline. After the plot ended, Su Youwei emerged from the water with a green dragon, controlling the character to transform into a brilliant blue light. In an instant, she came to the back of the boss and began the battle. Watching Su Youwei skillfully and fluently output on the boss Xie Qingfeng, except for the wet nurse Feng Qinyue, the 3 of them quickly pressed their assault skills and rushed towards the boss. However, except for Feng Qinyue who, under the guidance of her sister, could at least use some sword fragrance output techniques, the other 2 of them were completely unaware of where they lit up and pressed, even interrupting their most crucial output skills. Su Youwei saw all of this in his eyes, but also knew that it was not the time to correct and teach this. Although her hand speed is not slow, her ability to type and tell the other people what skills to avoid during output gaps is already the limit. No matter how powerful she is, she didn't exaggerate to the point of being able to type a long string of words in that short gap of a few seconds and teach these people output techniques. Fortunately, because the wet nurse can play and can be called an experienced hand. Although Su Youwei and his team are progressing a bit slowly, their overall performance is relatively stable and there is no risk of team destruction. After several thrilling minutes of output, Youwei finally passed the first boss at the cost of killing 2 people. Surprisingly, he felt the excitement only found in the past life of the pioneering team in the simplest dungeon. Ha! Take a deep breath. Youwei quickly picked up the iced cola on the table and started drinking it, feeling extremely happy. Feng Qingxue. Captain, mighty. The 14 prefectures of frost and cold with one sword. Youwei 666, Qingyue 666. Sword and sword. The captain and wet nurse miss are really impressive, they managed to pass so easily with us 3 colored pens. Feng Qingxue said, at best, I'm just a small colored pen. You two are the big colored pens, okay. The 14 prefectures of frost and cold with one sword. They are all colored pens, why bother to distinguish between high and low? Swords and swords. Younger sister is a wealthy woman who can even command dungeons. She is so patient, tsk. If I didn't know how much weight she weighs, I would really want to learn from younger sister. WeChat account. Alright, stop boasting. The bosses behind are getting harder and harder each time. Let me give you a brief introduction to the mechanism. Let's go through it first and then discuss it again. Feng Qingxue. Good captain. 1 sword frost in 14 provinces. Follow the captain's instructions for everything. Sword and sword. Youwei is right. Youwei. Start fighting again with a few active teammates. Although the subsequent bosses were indeed more and more difficult, with the tacit cooperation of Youwei and Feng Qingxue, their team of 2 elders and 3 newcomers passed the dungeon relatively smoothly without team destruction. After completing the dungeon, Roll received several items of equipment that were too white to wear. Youwei and several team members made friends one by one, and then took the initiative to say goodbye. I'm going to have lunch now. My account should hang up for a while. If there's anything else, just remember to leave a message. Several teammates quickly nodded in response, their hearts filled with strong feelings for Youwei. This is also normal. If anyone had encountered such a gentle and polite rich woman, their favorability would probably not have been much lower. Exit the military, leave the dungeon, and throw the character to Tianquan Villa to hang up. Youwei picked up her phone and opened the delivery app, muttering in a crisp voice to herself. I still need to run pictures, achieve accomplishments, calligraphy and painting, and improve my skills in the future. It feels so troublesome. Do I also need to find a skill DD? When I was poor in my past life, I had no choice but to tirelessly do these trivial things on my own. Now that she has money, Youwei naturally wants to find someone to help her deal with these difficult and unpleasant things, so that she can always enjoy the happiness brought by the game with a relatively relaxed attitude. Chapter 8. Big Anchors Who Collectively Change Their Names. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Who should I contact for a more professional skill DD? Because she had never been exposed to such things in her previous life, Suyu suffered slightly with her delicate and pretty face, and for a moment, she didn't know who to choose as her martial arts DD. Due to personality reasons. Youwei doesn't really like people using her account to curse or say things that attack others. So with this tendency, the previous boss liked to mock others for being poor and low-quality DD, so Youwei naturally kept his distance. After careful consideration, thinking that today is the day when the new district is open, there should be many hosts on the live streaming platform who have the ability to compete in the new district. Youwei, who had already ordered takeout and ordered a yellow braised chicken rice meal, once again opened the famous fish platform, intending to see if there was anything suitable on it. If not, Youwei might have to go to the Taobao Merchants' Chamber of Commerce to place an order and have them send someone to help him handle it. Click on the Tianya Mingyue knife section of a certain fish. Due to the opening of new regions and professions today, the popularity of the Tiandao section is also unprecedentedly high, almost comparable to some well-known popular online games such as QQ Speed and CF. And the top 10 most popular anchors, who rank in the top 2 rows, almost always include the words fish costume or koi carp copy in their titles, clearly indicating the terrifying popularity of the first server in the new region. However, what surprised Su Youwei a little and then suddenly became clear was undoubtedly the mo-lin prefix that these anchors were all brushing together. After a brief recollection, Su Youwei finally remembered that the prefix seemed to be a well-known boss who, in order to have his guild settled in the fish server, specially paid a certain well-known anchor in the fish sky knife section, Chi, to change his name and add a prefix to promote his guild. In a past life, Su Youwei was also amazed by this amazing ability to make money recklessly, but due to the nature of the leopard head, apart from a sigh, he didn't have much thoughts in his heart. In this life, if Su Youwei wanted to, she could undoubtedly do such things, even more exaggerated without any problem. But even now, Su Youwei, who is still staying at the scattered post station, whether or not she wants to do such a thing, even if she really wants to do it, she still needs a guild or gang to promote it, right? I didn't pay attention to the collective renaming of these big anchors. Su Youwei's gaze fell down, sliding the mouse scroll wheel while searching for a more eye-catching DD anchor. Not long after, a broadcaster named Feng Qinyue undoubtedly caught Su Youwei's attention in an instant. She raised her eyebrows slightly and exclaimed in surprise to herself. Isn't this Feng Qinyue the one I just started playing with? Although it feels like there shouldn't be such a coincidence in this world, it's probably just a name collision. But anyway, verifying it wouldn't be difficult. After a moment of hesitation, Su Youwei lightly clicked on the mouse and clicked into this popular bottom live broadcast room, which was only over 20,000. To be honest, if it weren't for seeing a familiar name, Su Youwei would have already turned off the live streaming platform and prepared to visit the Taobao Chamber of Commerce. After all, this popular anchor is almost no different from the people you casually find in the Chiba, and is on the edge of being able to abandon the anchor identity at any time. If the things on your account are very valuable, it is not impossible for the anchor to donate money and run away without broadcasting. So for Su Youwei today, spending so little time searching for a suitable daily routine and skill DD is actually quite important and worth it for her. Click into the live broadcast room. Su Youwei's first-level yellow skin account, which only has a string of numbers, naturally did not attract anyone's attention in the live broadcast room, and was even mistaken for a robot. Looking at the motionless anime cute girl with pink hair in the lower right corner of the computer screen and the Tianxiang named Feng Qinyue in the picture, Su Youwei blinked. Unexpectedly, there was such a coincidence in the world. Just as Su Youwei was in a daze. On the barrage, a level 14 user named Yulang Yunqing took the initiative to offer advice to the anchor. The main bag. The rich woman on your team has such a thick thigh. Why don't you voluntarily recommend yourself as her DD. If you delay taking action for a while, you are almost destined to miss out on this top-notch boss. I haven't waited for the anchor Feng Qinyue to answer yet. Another level 6 user named Construction Site Ligang quickly responded by saying, wearing 2 pieces of heavenly boutique fashion makes you a top-tier boss. You're a top-tier boss, isn't it too cheap? Chapter 9. Su Youwei's Half Home. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. I am truly a teammate who just played Ben together. Is it really Su Youwei's Half Home Court? I haven't waited for the 6th level yellow skin user who is fighting against the construction site to say the second sentence yet. Anchor Feng Qinyue has already been quick-witted and banned to prevent such people from continuing to ruin the scenery. After the red prompt of successful ban appears, a gentle and delicate voice sounded in Su Youwei's ear. No matter whether they are big bosses or not, you don't have to be disgusting here. They play so well, maybe they can handle it themselves or have DD, right? If I ask, isn't it a bit awkward? Yulang Yinqing said, when will you be able to receive a top-ranking official in the new district if you keep going like this? Anyway, I just resigned and played around to earn some pocket money. If I can't make it through live streaming for a while, I should still look for a job. Yuelang Yinqing said, okay, the main package should seize the opportunity to enter the factory. After speaking these words, the already dull live broadcast room was plunged into an absolute silence. Looking at the screen that lasted for 3 minutes without any barrage, it was as silent as a tomb. And a live broadcast room with only soft music and game sounds. Su Youwei shook her head helplessly and thought to herself that it might be strange for you to become popular like this. Your voice sounds so beautiful, even if you just say a few words to yourself, it may be much stronger than it is now, right? But it doesn't matter either. Su Youwei is here to find reliable DD, not MCN institutions to train and select anchors. She decisively opened the recharge interface, scanned the code to give gifts in one go, and the special effect that made the rocket soar instantly flew over the live broadcast room. Ah! A gentle voice, slightly surprised and unexpected, rang out again. Feng Qinyue said in confusion. Thank you to the user *** for sending the fire. Rocket, was this the wrong live broadcast room? Su Youwei patted her snow-white and smooth forehead, thinking to herself that she had forgotten to change her name. But it's not a big problem, she just typed. No mistake, did you still receive the order copied by the koi in the main package? My account lacks a daily DD skill, and the price is reasonable as long as the person is reliable. It seems that the delivery was not wrong. Feng Qinyue suddenly breathed a sigh of relief, and her expression also eased a lot. She was a bit worried that the rocket was delivered incorrectly, and in the end, she was chased for a full refund. Zai carefully reviewed the barrage from beginning to end, and Feng Qinyue happily said. Of course, boss. What's your account name? Can we add a contact information first? My account is the character in front of you, oh. Feng Qinyue was taken aback at the words and then looked at the front of her game interface. A beautiful female Taibai named Youwei, dressed in red hair and hanging up alone, immediately caught the anchor's eye, causing an indescribable and wonderful emotion to rise in her heart. Add WeChat. I sent my account password to the other party and asked them to wait for me to log off at night before running Tuching to see and hear. After waiting for a long time, Su Youwei finally delivered the takeout to Su Youwei's doorstep at this time. Opening Bilibili, I picked a video that was quite appetizing and enjoyed it. At this time, Su Youwei had the leisure and mood to open the forum and plan to see the posts that sparked heated discussions on the forum. Open the Master of the Tianya Mingyue Blade. A post with over 2,000 replies, over 30,000 likes, and a title with a big hot post about their game Eddie immediately caught Su Youwei's eye. I clicked into this post and took a casual look. Although the landlord claims to be objective, his malicious speculation about Su Youwei in his words has become so obvious that it cannot be concealed. And the fact proves. This kind of empty mouth and false accusation is ultimately difficult to gain the support and recognition of most normal people. More than 90% of the replies in the post are mocking the owner's sour lemon possession. Occasionally, if there is a chance to help, others will immediately criticize and delete their replies. Although Su Youwei himself also dislikes entrusting such things. But this kind of pointing at someone without any evidence and claiming to be a fake NC, Su Youwei said it's better to die. If it weren't for the habit of calming down and cultivating one's character after surfing for many years, Su Youwei would have let this fool know the consequences of provoking him today. At the peak of the key, in the proud world, there is me cough and cough. After enjoying lunch, Su Youwei returned to the computer with a bottle of canned ice cola. She woke up the computer with a happy mood, intending to first raise her level to level 30, and then go to find someone to compete and see if her Taibai skills were unfamiliar after the transformation through time travel. Chapter 10. Respecting Su Youwei from the Running District Guild. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Manipulating the character who has been on hold for a long time to run back and forth for a few steps. Su Youwei was planning to teleport to Qinchuan to complete his daily meditation task when a series of messages on his private chat channel suddenly caught his attention. Chu Tian Junlin recruitment. Does the boss have any ideas to come and play in our Chu Tian Junlin? We are committed to serving as the headquarters of Emperor State, with the goal of becoming the top-tier gang in terms of combat effectiveness. If you are willing to join, we can definitely provide you with the best gaming experience. Chu Tianjuan's reception. Is the boss here? Chu Tian Junlin accepts. Boss, 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 take a look at us. Chu Tian Junlin. Chu Tianjuan's reception. Boss. Watching the other person's dense private chat on the screen. Leaving aside the fact that Su Youwei had no intention of going to these commercial guild gangs. Even if she really intends, her attitude of clinging on like a piece of candy and chatting privately on the screen may not arouse Su Youwei's interest. Chu Tian Junlin. Su Youwei blocked this guy while manipulating the character to teleport to Qinchuan. He arrived in front of the sect mentor and began practicing with countless Tai Bai disciples sitting densely here. His voice was tender and he said, "If I remember correctly, it's also one of the more famous old running area dogs in the commercial running area guild. I had a brain teaser, so I went to a running area dog guild like yours, right? Because of the mechanism of Tiandao's frequent opening of new areas, as well as its valuable 4 cute headquarters. The Running District Guild, which relies on selling helmets and gangs for a living, emerged and grew to its peak in the world of Tiandao. Whenever a new district in Tiandao is about to open, these professional commercial guilds often deceive half-ignorant newcomers and cute newcomers who don't know anything to join their guilds through various means, using the guise of a 1,000-member guild oath to take the helm and settle in the new district. After the opening of the new district service, those who are lucky in these commercial guilds can successfully obtain the target headquarters, while those who are unlucky often can only obtain one branch. But it's okay, whether or not they can get it, it doesn't affect these people's money-making plans. Those who have obtained the helm should sell it to bosses in need before it is destroyed by other powerful guilds, and make a profit by running away to prepare for the next new area. Those who have not obtained the helm will sell all the shells and members of their gang, and it is only a small gain. That's it. Perhaps some novice players haven't figured out what's happening yet, and their gang and even the helm have changed their names and owners. These game bugs pose great harm to the game, and it is unknown how many newcomers enter the game with their dreams of martial arts, only to be left with an explosive mentality overnight. The gang explodes, leaving them with no choice but to part ways with their newly acquainted gang friends. Su Youwei, who had already suffered such losses in his past life, naturally couldn't join this gang of running dogs. However, one was blocked, but it could not block the numerous running area guilds where Koi copied. The reason why Su Youwei is not very eye-catching now is only because although she is wearing solitary red hair, her martial arts are not very impressive, ranking in the top few thousand on the martial arts ranking list. If she is currently ranked in the top 10 in terms of martial arts and still wears such an ordinary scammer who would never spend any money on creating the heavenly reward fashion, then the number of people talking about her privately would probably be more than 10 times higher. How could there be only 3 or 2 kittens like this? Gang. Su Youwei naturally knows how to add. But in the case of being disrespectful to those running district guilds, Su Youwei may choose to join a suitable player gang. As for now, Su Youwei's goal is only to improve her martial arts skills and brush the sky rewards. Gang or something, let's not bother her for now. In the guild Youwei of Chu Tian. The yellow horse named Chu Tianjun paused in his tone and suddenly felt a little regretful and depressed, saying, "Damn it, I was blacklisted by the other side. I knew I wouldn't be chatting so privately." Upon hearing this, several gang managers on the same small channel suddenly became curious and quickly inquired. What situation and what situation? Who has blacklisted you? Tell us, and we should also be more careful not to offend others. A gang of 2, they have all blacklisted me. You guys go under the name of the Junlin gang, and they will still leave you. That's also possible. What if someone thinks our tone is gentle and cute, so they forget about you and join us? After thinking for a moment, it seemed that what these people were saying also made sense. The voice of the yellow horse, who was receiving the guests at Chu Tianjuan's reception, was gloomy and said. Who else can it be? Let's just help the fierce person who is discussing the first level of the development zone to brush red-haired Dugu. Damn it, I didn't say anything bad either. Isn't it just a little too much private chat? Why did this blackmail me? I'm so annoyed. Continuously exploding, can everyone feed a little monthly ticket flowers QAQ?